Good evening, this is Atmospheric Alex here, and welcome to a urgent U.S. weather forecast, outlook, and discussion here. We're going to be talking about a historic winter storm that is going to be sweeping across basically a large chunk of the United States, at least of the eastern U.S. And the central U.S. It is looking much more significant now than it has over the past few days. We're continuing to see some really dangerous uptrends on our model data. We're expecting a crippling ice storm down south and a really prolific, intense snowstorm just to the north. And I'll have all those details in today's video. So as we start off with our analysis data, there is legitimately not much going on right now. Just a bit of a clipper system up here. We do have some lake effect snow across Michigan, across Ontario, but especially as we go down here across Erie and Ontario. I can't believe I said Ontario twice. I meant Superior before. But Erie and Ontario, we're seeing a ton of lake effect snow, and honestly, we're seeing feet of it out there in some areas, and that's going to continue for quite a while. All this down here was not in the models, so it is overperforming. As we take a look at our current alert map here, you can see we do have some snow alerts across portions of the Great Lakes, as per usual, and as per expected. And of course, we still do have some freeze warnings down here in Florida as our cold air does continue. But now we are going to move on to our very dangerous upcoming historic winter storm that is going to be likely here. And you can see we're going to go over some of our key messages here, just like we do during hurricane season. I mean, this is pretty serious. That's kind of why I wanted to include our key messages here. But we're expecting a significant winter storm. An expansive winter storm will produce a swath of heavy snow, sleet, and freezing rain from the southern Rockies plains to the mid-south starting Friday, then going to the east coast through Sunday. Extreme cold in the wake of the system may prolong snow and ice impacts. That is very important. If we see any really important details, I'm going to highlight them in red here. Heavy snow. The northern portion of the precipitation shield will consist of heavy snow, most likely from the southern Rockies and south central plains on east through the mid-Atlantic. Snow-covered roads and reduced visibilities are among the primary hazards expected from that. We could even be talking about a lot of snow load as well. We're going to be seeing a ton of snow. Dangerous ice. All right. This is going to be a very big concern. Broad swaths of freezing rain and sleet are expected south of the all-snow zone right here over the southern plains, mid-south, and parts of the Carolinas. Hazardous travel conditions, power outages, and tree damage are likely. And we could even see more extensive damage in this if our winter storm overperforms, or if the models actually hold steady on what they're expecting. Let me tell you what, when we get to our snow and ice predictions from our models, you are going to be quite concerned about it. It is looking really intense out there. Our forecast uncertainty, confidence is high on a storm, but low on the exact storm track, timing, and precipitation amounts. Start preparations now for an impactful winter storm and keep up to date with the latest information. This is not an ordinary winter storm. This is going to be a very serious one that we have not seen in a very long time, and impacting areas that have not been impacted in quite some time as well. So we're going to move on through to our European model here to see what it's showing. I'm using Weather Bell for these graphics rather than Synoptic Weather. I feel like Weather Bell will encapsulate things a lot better. As we progress it through time into Thursday, into Friday here, you can see we do have some snow breaking out across Oklahoma, a bit of wintry mix, and then boom, your ice storm starts really quickly as we move into Friday night. Take a look at all of that ice on your screen. Your moderate snow to the north, and this system really becomes bona fide as we head into Saturday. This is absolutely incredible here. We're talking about moderate to heavy icing in the southern extremities of your system, and moderate to perhaps even heavy snowfall on your northern side of your system. So really quite a classic yin-yang look here. Snow up here, ice down here, and really not much rain in between. Just winter weather impacts everywhere. You can see this here. A ton of areas of energy reload out here, push through and prolong this system. This is Sunday afternoon, folks. Still talking about moderate to heavy snow, saying Arkansas, West Tennessee here, and moderate to heavy freezing rain ongoing for over a 24-hour period. This is a very serious winter storm, folks, and this moves on out as we move into Sunday night, early Monday morning. As we move into our eastern U.S. here, or more specifically our southern or southeastern U.S., you can see our winter weather impacts do quickly ramp up as we move into Friday night into Saturday. Look at this right here. For you folks here in West Tennessee, look at that. Heavy snow to the north, heavy icing to the south. This is going to be a very serious situation for a lot of people, for millions upon millions of people. Very, very heavy freezing rain down here in northern Alabama. Moving into Georgia, this is a catastrophic icing event right here. If this were to unfold, we would be talking about down trees, a lot of down power lines, prolonged power outages, and absolutely no way of traveling anywhere. This would be the worst case scenario. We're talking about heavy icing all throughout these areas here. Atlanta, Georgia, prepare now. It's going to be very serious for you all. Hopefully we can see some of this warmer air creep in, but I do not think that that is going to happen. We have way too much cold air in place with this system. Again, catastrophic icing being possible over here across the Carolinas. That is a very dangerous situation. You all need to prepare accordingly. You need to be prepared for prolonged power outages in those areas. And then finally, this moves on out, but the impacts, oh, the impacts are serious. Then as we move it on through with our GFS model here is what it is showing. This is our latest 18Z data, and let me tell you what, this is dropping an absolute bomb of a storm. You can see our freezing rain, heavy snow breaking out everywhere, all right? Immediately, we're talking about moderate heavy snow going into Tennessee Friday evening. So there is a chance that this storm is even more prolonged than forecasted. This, I mean, we're talking about this. Look at this Friday evening here, and this continues a lot of sleet, but this model, the GFS, is very weird about sleet. Most of this will be freezing rain guaranteed. And this continues on through, more energy, back building, sliding on through. And look at this. We're talking about freezing rain down to New Orleans on this model run. Not a forecast, but we could be seeing some very far southern impacts here. And then, I mean, this is just quite a significant system. I mean, there is no doubts about that. That is exactly why the border of my face cam is all red, because this is a level of concern of a 5 out of 5, as serious as you can get. Didn't think we'd reach that this winter, but here we are, right? You can see big time snowstorm breaks out a lot earlier than forecasted in East Tennessee on this particular model. I mean, it wants to clobber you with a ton of snow. Look at East Tennessee here. That is remarkable data. You can see that freezing rain down there. Holy smokes, this is a massive snow shield as I try and compose myself. You do not see stuff like this on the models too often. Even your 15-day fantasy runs are rarely this impressive. Folks, this is only 120 hours out, maybe even less at this point, and significant icing, significant snow. This would be the storm of a decade, if not even maybe 2 decades on the GFS model, if this verifies. Potentially the strongest since, I'm not going to say anything else, but you get the idea. This is very serious. As we look at our Canadian model, it shows a much different story here. It actually amps up your system a lot more, but look at this icing here. Holy smokes, heavy freezing rain down to Louisiana there, and most of the sleet in between will be freezing rain. And I mean, this is some very serious impacts. I'm trying to go a little bit quick here. We just have so much data to get through in this video, and I don't have much time to do it because I have a class at 6 o'clock and I still need to eat dinner. So yay me, I guess. I had a lot to work on today, so yeah, I'm trying to squeeze this in as fast as possible. Heavy icing going on here across Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, East Tennessee. Heavy icing on this particular model run. I do think freezing rain will be a major concern for you all in your East Tennessee Valley locations. Maybe even closer to the foothills. Like, you know, if you're very, very local in that area, I know a lot of you are. Maybe like Sevierville, you could still see some pretty significant freezing rain amounts as this shifts north over time. And again, your snow shield expands substantially here. We're talking about snow in your Great Lakes areas, in your Midwest, even in your Northeast. So the system really amps up here on your Canadian model. Somewhat of an outlier as of now, but we're going to have to watch trends closely. Now here are your snowfall predictions from your European model here. And this is definitely not to be taken as a forecast at all, but we're going over this to kind of see where your strongest impacts are going to be. Look at this. It explodes across Oklahoma here. Holy smokes, we're talking nearly 20 inches on this model run. Not a forecast, probably not going to happen. 15 inches is definitely a safe bet, I'd say, in some localized spots. But look at this footprint of snow. Absolutely remarkable. Oklahoma, OKC, around 15 inches. Portions of Arkansas here, I mean, we're talking near 19 to 20 on this particular model run. And unfortunately, there's some consistency and agreement behind that. Though, again, I wouldn't go out and about spouting out these high snowfall totals just yet, to your friends and family. Let's stick with some of the lower end stuff for now because we're still 5 days out. That's important to note. And how about across your eastern sections here? Well, it really gets going. Look at all this snow. Wow. Even your Northeast getting in on some of the action as well. But we're talking, look at this, West Tennessee around 12 to 14 inches on this model run. Going into Middle Tennessee around 17 to nearly 20. And then East Tennessee, some areas along the mountains, like I said, you could see a warm nose develop aloft. Kind of in your low levels of your atmosphere right here. That could melt your snow and change it to rain and then freezing rain at the surface. That's something we need to watch for. Mid-Atlantic going to get absolutely crushed. I do expect some of your highest totals to be in Virginia. Honestly, 15 to 20 inches, you can't rule that out, but let's be a little bit cautious about your high-end totals for now. Here is your GFS model here, and what it is showing as I quickly reload the data here. This model run is absolutely ballistic here. We're talking around 20 to almost 22 inches in some areas. That is not a forecast. A little too high in your totals there. GFS going out to lunch just like always, but a large swath of snow. And a little bit further south, another models show it here. But it doesn't really seem to matter even for your locations further off to your north as your snow shield's going to be so massive. Look at this. This model run crushes East Tennessee with 3 feet of snow. This is not going to happen. Not going to happen. There is no way physically possible that East Tennessee will see 30 plus inches of snow. Again, I guess all we can say is continue to monitor the model trends, but 30 inches, are you kidding me? No way, GFS. I mean, you've got to be kidding. But a lot of these other areas here, look at that, upwards of 20 inches. We'll have to wait and see on that. How about your European ensemble? And this is a really good look at things here. I love looking at ensembles because it shows you the most likely scenario, right? Well, on your ensemble mean, we're talking around 7 to 9 inches here across Oklahoma and Arkansas. I'd say this is fairly locked in. You are going to see a ton of snow across these areas. Like I said, across Oklahoma, Arkansas, definitely going to be quite a bullseye for you all. As we head further on off to the east here, your system ramps up quickly. Portions of West Tennessee around 7 inches, we'll just say. And then areas further off to the east around 9 to 10 inches in middle to even northern Tennessee. Portions of Virginia, nearly a foot of snow on your mean. I really do believe you all in Virginia are going to get crushed with snow. That will be your snow zone, particularly over there in those areas. Really, your snow zone is going to be everywhere in between as well. This is a massive storm system, one we have not seen in the last 5 years, maybe even 10 years going on that at this point. As we move into your GFS ensemble here, shockingly not aggressive at all. Around 7 inches here across Oklahoma, portions of Arkansas. So this is actually kind of on the lower end. And as we take a look here across West Tennessee, not as much of a signal. 4 to 5 inches, but I really don't buy that. I think it's going to be higher than that. Better yet, much higher than that, honestly, on your ensemble means. But look at this. Even through this scenario, Virginia still gets crushed. 10 inches of snow. Someone is going to get a foot of snow in these areas. I honestly, I really strongly do believe that. East Tennessee, another hot zone that's going to be seeing a ton of snow from this system. Probably more northeastern Tennessee and northern Tennessee in general. because I do think we're going to see some warmer air try and seep in through your Tennessee Valley and East Tennessee Valley as well. How about your freezing rain? This is going to be the top priority of this storm system here. Well, you can see it here on your European model. This is honestly, there's really no words to describe this, folks. I mean, we are talking on the European model, 2 to 2.5 inches of ice. This is not a forecast by any means. However, even if you cut these totals in half, still 1.25 inches, borderline 1.5 inches. Holy smokes. That is going to cause a ton of damage across these areas. So you all need to really start preparing now if you're in the freezing rain zone of this storm system. As we move further off to the east here and progress it through time, you could see your ice signal really begins to ramp up. I have never in my life seen an ice storm of this capacity show up on your European model just 120 hours out. This is absolutely nothing to be messing with. Atlanta, Georgia, over 1 inch of ice is definitely possible. Again, the European really wants 2 inches. I don't think that's going to happen, but we really have to stay vigilant here. This entire area could be in for some crippling ice totals, maybe even some localized catastrophic ice totals, depending on what happens with this system. But man, this is nothing to be messing with in the slightest. Your GFS here, as we reload the data here, their latest model run, is a lot different. GFS, I'm going to say it right now, throw it in the trash can. Throw the whole entire model in the trash can. This model has been horrible the entire winter, and at the last second has been caving to the European model. So the GFS model, borderline out of commission at this point. I really have no use for it, to be fair. I'm only showing you all this because it is somehow still a possibility at the very least. Even in this scenario, though, still tries to dump over 2 inches of ice across some areas. I mean, really, there is no way to miss out on these ice totals across your southeast, unfortunately. We're pretty much inevitably going to be having a very serious situation, all hands on deck situation on our hands as we progress through this storm system. Our European ensemble, in terms of our icing, in my life, I've never seen anything like this from the European ensemble. This is honestly the first time in a long time, or if ever, we're talking about ice totals over 1 inch. Holy smokes. I have no words for this at all. As we move into our eastern sections here, really not any better. Atlanta, Georgia. And I really do not care if you get tired of me saying Atlanta over and over again, but you all there in Atlanta, Georgia need to watch out extremely closely. You know, I know how vulnerable the city is to conditions like this, but your mean is printing over 1 inch of ice for Metro Atlanta. That is something very serious that we need to keep in mind, and just take a look at this icing. We even up here, even far north, look at this, West Tennessee, 1/4 inch of ice possible. Again, if we see our northern scenarios pan out, this could shove portions of West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, straight into the ice box. We do not want that to happen. And we also don't want any of this down here to happen either, but we are way too close in range for any of this to start disappearing, unfortunately. This is a very high impact, very rare, exceptionally rare winter storm on our hands. My goodness. And just really quickly wanted to pull up the national blend of all models here. You can see it is a lot less aggressive, but the NBM is very conservative in its ice totals. Still some of the highest outputs I've ever seen from this model personally, about 1/2 inch. By the way, anything above 1/4 inch of ice in the south is going to cause a ton of problems. I hope you all realize that. It's not going to take 1 inch of ice to cause complete calamity. We're going to be talking about deadly temperatures associated with this as well. Now, not deadly for the south, don't start panicking there, but up north. All right, look at up here across Minnesota. We're talking about temperatures between -20 to -30 degrees. We could even be seeing isolated pockets closing in on -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Look at this across northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin here. This is some absolutely brittle cold. Your polar vortex will be coming down. Temperatures over here are closing in on negative 45 degrees in northern North Dakota. Wow, that is remarkable. As we rewind our timing a little bit here, how cold is it going to be when it snows down here across the southern areas here? You can see it is going to be snowing heavily with temperatures potentially down to 10 degrees across Oklahoma, 10 to 15 degrees across West Tennessee there. It is going to be snowing and ridiculously cold temperatures for some areas. And then after the snow moves out, we could be talking about some extreme cold with that snowpack in place. Temperatures possibly breaking down to negative 10 to negative 15 degrees. This is not a forecast by any means. Please pump the brakes. This is not a forecast. But if we see this much snow, this is going to be some record-breaking cold potentially down here for Arkansas, portions of Mississippi, even Oklahoma, Missouri, West Tennessee. It's gonna get cold for you all. East Tennessee could have lows in the negatives as well being possible. One last thing, and I promise this, we're looking at your wind chill values here. You can see as we head into Thursday, but especially Thursday night into Friday, wind chills are going to be between negative 50 degrees and even closing in on negative 60 degrees across North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. This is some deadly cold on the menu here. Moving on through your area, do not go outside. I don't care how many layers you're wearing, please just don't go outside. Negative 60 degree wind chills, again, more for Minnesota there. Wow, and this just gets even worse across some of these areas here. Look at your minimum, negative 66. So negative 65. Could we even see a straight negative 70 degree wind chill there? We'll have to wait and see. And oh wow, this just continues. Wind chills down to negative 25 possibly, but this is not a forecast. Wait for official forecasts from the National Weather Service, please, when watching how cold it could possibly get. And with that being said, you all, I hope you all found this video very informative and even life-saving as well, because this is a big time deal coming up. If you all enjoyed the video though, still, please be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, share this video with friends and family, share this video with friends and family on social media, because they need to know about this, and you need to know about this too, and they would really appreciate it if you told them about this, alright? Please do that. One last closing remark, we actually could see the northern lights tonight. Last night was kind of a failure, tonight could be too, but don't be surprised if you're pretty far south, potentially all the way down here if you maybe see a red glow on the northern horizon. We're going to have to wait and see. We're talking about very favorable conditions right now, similar to something we saw earlier this year, but we'll have to wait and see on that. You all have a wonderful night. Stay very safe and extraordinarily weather aware through this dangerous event.